The morning started like any other, but a loyal friend was about to bring home a secret from the wild that would change everything. Edward Harris, a retired veterinarian, found solace in the quiet routine of his small wooden cabin nestled beside the maple forest near the Toronto Zoo. After more than 4 decades of caring for animals, his love of nature had never diminished. His only close companion was his loyal black Labrador named Cooper. Every morning, Edward brewed coffee and sat on the porch, letting Cooper rest his head on his lap. Their life was peaceful and simple, accompanied only by the wind blowing through the trees and golden sunlight filtering through the leaves. This morning, however, when Edward stepped onto the porch, he did not find Cooper waiting for him as usual. The sudden silence rang like a loud alarm. He called his name softly, but only the sound of birds responded. Anxiety made him quickly pull on his sweater and step outside. The damp ground from the previous night's rain clearly showed Cooper's round footprints leading deep into the dense forest. Edward followed the tracks, his heart pounding as terrible scenarios raced through his mind. Just as he was about to turn back, a familiar dark shape emerged from between the tall trees. It was Cooper, but his mouth was closed around something that looked strangely soft and small. As he approached, the sight that took Edward's breath away was an unconscious, rain-soaked form clutched gently in Cooper's jaws. A newborn lion cub. Edward stood motionless, eyes scanning the forest warily, afraid that the lioness might be lurking somewhere nearby. Finding no sign of an adult lion, he whispered, "Cooper, keep him safe for a little while. Be careful, son." Cooper gently lowered the cub onto the rotting leaves, his brown eyes shining with worry and trust. This was a miracle and a terrifying mystery rolled into one. A creature of the African savanna found in a Canadian temperate forest. The tranquility Edward cherished had just been shattered by the desperate plea of a fading life. The retired veterinarian's instincts flared to life. The race to save a tiny, fragile creature had begun, and every second counted. Edward's fear of the cub's mother lurking nearby was quickly overshadowed by his professional oath. His trembling hands recognized the cold reality. The cub was barely breathing. Edward had no time to ponder the strange circumstances. He ran home, clutching the cub inside his woolen coat, transferring his own warmth to the fading life he carried. The small cabin transformed into an emergency room, filled with the scent of pine and antiseptic. He placed the cub on the table and turned on the bright light for a quick examination. The illumination revealed severe dehydration and exhaustion. As a retired veterinarian, Edward knew he had to act fast against hypothermia and dehydration, the fastest killers for a young carnivore. He checked the cub's heart rate and pulse, breathing a sigh of relief when he detected weak but steady vital signs. The tension in the room was palpable, mirrored by Cooper's quiet whines of worry beside him. Edward's critical intervention began immediately. He administered a life support injection, provided subcutaneous fluids to replenish lost water, and gently massaged the tiny chest to stimulate circulation. These were not the actions of a retired old man, but the deep-seated reflexes of a professional who had spent a lifetime healing. Edward carefully took a towel to dry the cub, wrapped it in a warm blanket, and placed it near the fireplace to maintain its body temperature. Now the house felt strangely quiet, except for the ticking of the clock and the shallow, fragile breathing of the lion cub. This moment emphasized Edward's decades of expertise, channeled into saving an unlikely patient. He stayed awake through the night, monitoring every delicate breath. As the morning light shone through the window, the lion cub stirred slightly for the first time, causing Edward to smile in relief. That small movement was his first clear signal that the worst was over, at least for now. Edward knew he was only a temporary rescuer. He had to immediately notify the authorities to determine the origin and proper habitat of this lost creature. He picked up the old landline and called the Wildlife Division of the Toronto Zoo. His calm and professional demeanor ensured the story wouldn't end as a personal miracle, but as a collective effort to restore natural balance. The lion cub was safe, but the mystery remained. How did a symbol of the African savanna end up in a Canadian forest? After stabilizing the cub, Edward made the critical call to the Toronto Zoo's Wildlife Division, identifying himself professionally to lend immediate credibility. He emphasized the animal's weak condition, his voice calm but urgent. I am Edward Harris, a retired veterinarian. I found a lion cub in the forest. It's in very poor condition. He knew such rare creatures needed the specialized care and facilities that a retired man living alone could not provide long-term. 30 minutes later, the peace of the forest was broken by the sound of a pickup truck echoing from the trail leading into the woods. Two rangers, Alex Thompson and Maria Collins, stepped out, carrying first aid kits and wearing expressions of surprise. They found Cooper lying dutifully next to the warm blanket, where the cub was sleeping soundly in Edward's arms. The sight of a loyal Labrador protecting a young king of the jungle was truly rare and deeply moving. Edward recounted the entire story, from Cooper's disappearance to his gentle retrieval of the cub. He called it the dog's miracle, describing how Cooper had used his mouth to transport the fragile animal without causing a single injury. Alex, the more seasoned ranger, listened in silence. Then a look of profound understanding dawned on his face. He whispered, "We've been searching for a lion cub that went missing from the zoo 3 days ago. This must be him." The revelation shifted the story from a quiet rescue to a high-stakes emergency. The cub was part of an important conservation program, and its disappearance had sparked a large-scale search operation. For a newborn lion cub, 3 days without maternal care is a near-certain death sentence. Its survival was a testament to Edward's immediate veterinary skill and Cooper's instinctual, gentle handling. The team carefully secured the cub in a heated transport crate. Cooper watched, his ears flattened with nervousness, a quiet guardian ensuring his foundling was safe. Edward, the retired veterinarian, climbed into the vehicle with them, his new commitment to this tiny life overriding his desire for personal comfort. During the journey, he continuously reassured Cooper, sensing the dog's anxiety about the impending separation. This was not just about returning an animal, but about restoring a lost family. The quiet kindness of a man and his dog had led to a moment of primal, powerful love that would echo across the sanctuary. Arriving at the Toronto Zoo's medical station, the cub was immediately rushed into the veterinary emergency room for a comprehensive checkup. Doctors quickly confirmed the cub had no broken bones, just severe exhaustion from days of hunger and dehydration. A veterinarian administered additional fluids and an energy injection to help the cub regain consciousness quickly. The tension in the room eased when the cub's small eyes finally opened, followed by a soft, vital cry. Maria smiled, gently stroked its head and said, "Welcome back, little one." Cooper barked softly, warming the atmosphere in the room. Edward stood beside him, eyes filled with unshed tears, his hand resting on Cooper's shoulder as if thanking his friend for performing a miracle. The head doctor confirmed the cub was the youngest offspring of the zoo's matriarch, Arya. Word spread quickly throughout the facility, setting the stage for an emotional reunion. The scene transitioned to the zoo's largest lion enclosure. As the gate opened, Arya, the majestic mother lion, let out a soft, trembling roar, a sound of deep, painful longing. The cub, still weak, was placed gently on the grass. It took a few wobbly steps, searching for its source of warmth and security. In a split second, Arya rushed forward, not with aggression, but with overwhelming tenderness. She sniffed her baby all over, rubbing her massive cheek against its tiny body, making a deep, loving sound from within her chest. Her two older cubs joined them, lovingly licking the newcomer's head as if to welcome him back to the family. The sound was no longer a roar of loss, but a deep, resonant rumble of pure reunion, confirming the unbreakable bond of family across all species. Edward and Cooper watched from the fence, their hearts filled with emotion and simple, profound happiness. Cooper sat beside Edward, his tail gently wagging, his eyes shining with joy at seeing the little creature he had rescued now thriving. Ranger Maria captured the moment on her phone, a photograph of love between man, dog, and lion that would spread through the zoo staff and beyond. Ranger Alex, moved by the sight, softly said, "Not everyone gets to witness a sacred moment like this." Edward smiled and replied in a low, gentle voice, "Miracles always happen when we know how to love properly." This sentiment captured the powerful and subtle message of the entire story, the quiet wisdom of a retired man offering a profound takeaway for us all. Edward's assertion about loving properly was not just a comforting platitude, but the core message of the narrative. It encompasses compassion, the courage to act in the face of uncertainty, and the ability to recognize the value in every life, regardless of species or circumstance. The next day, Edward and Cooper returned for a final visit to see the cub in the zoo's care. Under the golden afternoon sunlight, the cub lay curled up safely next to its mother, Arya. Its clear eyes looked out at the blue sky, free of the fatigue and fear it had experienced just days before. Noticing Edward's presence, Arya slightly raised her majestic head and let out a low, powerful roar, an ancient sound that was an undeniable expression of deep gratitude for the life he had saved. Cooper sat quietly outside the fence, watching the lion family reunited, barking softly as if to say a final goodbye. Edward bent down and stroked Cooper's head affectionately, whispering, "We did the right thing, my faithful friend." This moment was not just the end of a rescue mission, but the confirmation of a special bond that transcended all biological barriers. Their story would remain not just a personal memory, but a small legend within the Toronto Zoo, a tale about the kindness of an old veterinarian and the incredible instinct of his loyal dog. On the way back home, fallen yellow maple leaves covered the path, light glittering among the quiet forest canopy. In Edward's heart, a small but significant story had come to an end. A story about compassion and the bond between species, proving that empathy is nature's strongest and most universal language. The tale of Cooper and the lion cub is a gentle yet powerful reminder that the smallest act of kindness can sometimes be the catalyst for the biggest miracles. This enduring bond reminds us that compassion transcends species, language, and all the boundaries we create. The challenge to the audience is clear. What small, seemingly insignificant act of kindness can you perform today? The biggest miracles often start with the quietest steps. Like Edward and Cooper, we all have the power to mend broken connections and save lives that desperately need our help. Hit the like button if you believe in second chances, and share in the comments. What does loving properly mean to you? Spread this message of kindness to someone who needs to hear it today,